The thing that stuck with me was competition at each and every position, earning your job. We've been in an era of Eagles football where we've seen people being given their job, and I was getting sick and tired of guys getting complacent because they think that you haven't earned anything. I.e., Carson Wentz. Everybody you ran Nick Foles out of town, and now you get pissed off because you lead the league in interceptions, and they finally take your happy ass out. I'm getting sick and tired of complacent jerks not earning their keep. Point blank.
Thursday get together here on Birds 365. McDonald and McMullen hanging with you, and we added a little size to the show. Neither John nor I is undersized, but we are not extra large. Our next guest is. That's what kept him in the National Football League for years. Disruptor along the defensive line. Hollis Thomas joins us here on Birds 365. In a minute, Hollis. How you been, buddy?
Pretty good. It's been quite some time. Jody Mack, how you been?
I'm doing well. You look good, my friend. You look like you could go out and play.
Thanks, man. I just try to maximize my sexy being a single young man. You know, you can't walk up on ladies looking a mess.
I love the damn Skippy and the Hollis Thomas right there. But yeah, Hollis, we had Barrett Brooks on as well. We got a trenches show, and you're on the defensive side of the ball for us. So I want to start you off with the Eagles' defensive line, since that's obviously your expertise. Changed from Jim Schwartz to Jonathan Gannon. You got Tracy Rocker, the D-line coach. What do you see from the talent of this team, starting with Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, and then you talk about the young guys and Milton Williams of the world? A little bit different from your time, but how do you think these pieces fit?
Well, initially, when they drafted the kid in the third round, I was But if you're going to start with Fletcher Cox, I think this defense will actually, I think it'll be better for them. Mainly because you have, if they do get a linebacker, which we haven't had in quite some time, a lot of people keep on talking about our secondary, which has got a bunch of holes in it, and then they start talking about the front not getting that much pressure. But the front seven is never going to get no pressure without a true quarterback in the middle. We don't have a safety, and we don't have a middle linebacker. So those guys can only do so much. But I think being with Gannon and the style of defense that they're talking about playing, I think it'll help out the guys in the trenches a whole lot more. I think they'll be less tired at the end of the game. We'll be able to fight more, longer, and better. But I think they'll spend less time on the field, especially if they go the ways of the Indianapolises and the Minnesotas and the defenses that Gannon's been a part of.
Do you think, and I'm not sure if you broken down film on the guy, but I know you've seen him play some, the Eric Wilson acquisition, he played a lot for Minnesota, and he made plays for Minnesota. Now, he was getting opportunities because some pretty good Minnesota linebackers got hurt last year, but I thought it was a pretty damn good signing by the Eagles during the offseason. The way you described the linebacker that the Eagles need, is Eric Wilson capable of filling that role for the Birds?
Well, I think we're going to find out pretty much because somebody else said, why was he on the street, so to speak? And I was like, if you pay attention to some of the acquisitions, the coaches are going to get guys that they're familiar with and they can run their scheme and that they know that are pretty decent. Yeah, and you put them on some one-year deals, some one-year mercenary deals. It's to prove it to me. We're not totally invested in you, so this is his opportunity to prove it. He did good at spot duty last year. He was an undrafted guy, so every time he's got the opportunity, he sees the second. To me, that's great for us, especially this year, because we should get the best out of him. And he's the kind of linebacker that we've been looking for. If you've noticed, we've passed on pretty much every linebacker, whether it was to draft a player that's hurt twice, twice in Sydney, and everybody keeps talking about the kid out of Alabama who we drafted this year, passed on some tremendous linebackers. I don't like drafting. It's kind of like going out and buying dented canned goods. I'm not buying dented canned goods and paying undented prices. So it remains to be seen. Everybody keeps talking about what he can do. Prove it to me. You haven't been healthy for an entire season, and yet we're still here talking about that particular position because every time we go into the draft, we do a head scratching thing, especially the second round. We've done Sidney Jones, and now this kid, who everybody says is good, but he hasn't been healthy for an entire one entire college season, which pissed me off to no end when I saw it happening.
Yeah. Hollis, you mentioned something interesting to me when you talked about the shift in the coaching staff, and maybe it's going to help out the defensive line. Maybe they were a little gassed, a lot of wide nine under Jim Schwartz, more of a movement-based front if you think about what Mike Zimmer does, and maybe that's the direction Jonathan Gannon goes. How does that help a defensive line when you talk about fourth quarter?
Well, it gives you an opportunity to do some movements and not be stagnant all the time. If you looked at Jim Schwartz's defense, even when we tried to blitz, it looked pathetic because you don't practice it. It's like I think it'll be more blitzes. There'll be more movement based, and when you move and stuff, you're not always where the offense wants you to be. So you might be over here, then you may move on the snap of the rock. There should be some other sub style blitzes, some zone pressures, and some other things that we hadn't seen them do in quite some time. And it'll be refreshing to see something other than the damn wide nine. It'll be refreshing to see a quarterback not be able to stand back there and pat the ball a few times because they've put max protection up, or they've just kept an extra person in to block for.
Let me get your expertise on a former Eagles defensive lineman, as in just this past year. Mm-hmm. They made an aggressive move, went out and got Malik Jackson a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the first year goes by the board with an injury, knocks him out for the entire year. Returned last year. They went out and got Hargrave as well, so they really bolstered up the defensive tackle position. I thought Malik Jackson was okay last year. I knew there was a good chance the Eagles weren't going to be able to retain him because the contract was too big, and that's exactly what happened. He ended up jumping ship. How would you have graded Malik Jackson's year last year?
He was inconsistent. He was inconsistent, and he got a bunch of unnecessary penalties in different situations. A bunch of unnecessary roughness penalties, a bunch of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, which is detrimental to the team. And to me, it's selfish. You know what the hell you're doing. Unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, it kills the defense. And other than that, when Fletcher Cox got hurt, both of those guys disappeared. So to me, they weren't earning a keep. And it's like when you don't earn your keep and you give them a reason to go out and shop for more stuff, that's only your fault. So it's pretty much his fault he's not here. Because if he was making plays, we'll be having this conversation.
and that same, yeah.
Go ahead. Now, what I was going to say was, well, at your position, when everybody starts talking about we need somebody at the position, and they're chirping, it's mainly because you're not doing what the hell you're supposed to be doing. So if you want people to stop saying that, what do? You go out and you do it. You do what you're supposed to do. You do your job.
Hollis, in that same vein, Javon Hargrave, because he came over from Pittsburgh and played the 3-4. So to me, early in the season, he looked like he was trying to find his way.
Right.
But he got better as the season went on and on. Did you see the same kind of thing?
I saw a little bit of the same thing. I saw once he started learning what to do and how to do it. It's kind of like a guy with you feel your way around. You know what to do, but instinct. You want to get a guy to where he's moving instinctively instead of just kind of knowing the answer. It's kind of like in class when you know the answer, you kind of like you think you know the answer. You like instead of when you know the answer. It's different. You think you know the answer. You know that. That's what you want. Defensively, that's what you want. So when the guy knows the answer and he's hitting people in the mouth, yeah, we're not having these conversations about people at their position. And I've been with Jody and all these guys for quite some time. And when I played, I used to get pissed because sometimes they'd be talking about my position. And then I started thinking, I was like, well, hell, if I was doing my job, they wouldn't be talking about getting rid of me.
All right. Well, and I'm gonna turn back the clock with you again, Hollis.
Okay.
And ask you about when you played.
Okay.
One of my favorite plays, watching football on a week in, week out basis, is the defensive line stunt. I love it when a perfectly timed defensive line stunt gets a guy into the backfield and he gets his hands on the quarterback. Now, I'm trying to remember your career as best I could. I think you probably have a better grasp on it. You weren't a major stunting guy. You weren't the guy who was going to be sneaking outside and using his speed to get to the quarterback because they didn't see it coming. Maybe it was effective because they didn't see it coming because you didn't do it all that often. Who was your best teammate to stunt with?
Well, at the first couple of years, I learned how to stunt and be really, really good at it. So I could do the stunts with everybody because what I learned from my coaches and from what was it Mike Turkovic and Tommy Brazier, don't be selfish in the stunt. If the stunt if you're meant to come free, you're going to come free. So they used to I used to just try to get a good stunt. I used to get good stunts with Hugh Douglas, with Corey Simon, because as long as you're not selfish, eventually you're gonna come free, or you may come free. If sometimes you have to give yourself up, and when you give yourself up, sometimes they're not expecting that because you're the penetrator, and the loopers sometimes come around free, and when you come around as a looper, don't always expect to be free. Expect there maybe to be some work there, and if you expect there to be some work there, you will destroy it because you've got up some speed, weight, and hand position. So I used to love to do all the stunts because it gave me an opportunity to move instead of somebody double teaming me all the time.
All right, Hollis, as long as we're reminiscing, I want to take you back to, I guess, 96 when you were undrafted coming out of college. And obviously you lasted 13 years, I think, in this league.
15 to be exact, but who's counting?
Yeah, but so a long time. Barrett Brooks just told us a story. He remembered, I want to see if you remember this. When they were looking at your highlight tape, you had Eric B. and Rakim on there as music.
Right.
And I wanted to know if you did that on purpose to get people to get excited to watch the highlights.
Well, yeah, I had to pick, in picking music at the time, gangster rap was the thing to do. A lot of curse words. You go with the people who are saying what you're trying to say. The song was I Ain't No Joke by Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
And there was another song by Eric B. and Rakim called "How Can I Move the Crowd?" And then the last song was "Can I Get Down?" by Rest His Soul is Craig Mack. So I try to pick the songs, but I pick small excerpts from each song to show what I was doing on tape, and and pretty much like you said to be catchy, and it worked eventually.
And it worked, Yeah, it worked
eventually. Because I was coming from Northern Illinois, so at that time we were not highly touted in the football region.
Over the years, did any undrafted guys come? Once you got entrenched in the league, did any undrafted guys come up to you and say, "Look, how'd you do this? How'd you get the eye of the coaching staff? How'd you accomplish this?"
Well, I think a lot of guys did what I did, but I don't think they did it to the extent that I did it probably. And what it's like, they didn't really come up. You just got that air of respect, more respect than a draft pick gets. Because when draft picks, what I have learned, when draft picks come in, and actually the funny thing is, we were just talking about this the other day. Guys who get drafted later and guys who come in as free agents, you come in with a chip on your shoulder because you feel like everybody skipped you over and they don't think you belong. So you spend all your time trying to kick people in the teeth to let them know that you belong there, and that chip grows. And the guys who kind of like piss the opportunity away tend to be those guys who are gifted, who are drafted in the first and second round. It's kind of funny to me. I was talking to some of the executives, and you see some guys with tremendous talent, and once they get to the NFL, it's like, where the hell did they go? It's like, well, they stop working on their craft. They get lazy, and they get complacent and too confident, and then when somebody kicks them in the teeth, they don't know which way to go. So you come in with a chip on your shoulder, and then once you learn that it's a job, and then everybody keeps – I don't know if you guys have spoken about this, but they keep talking about time off and not doing things competitively. Your job is to be an NFL player. Your job is to put people in the stands. Your job is to entertain the masses of your team. And it's like when you start talking that bull crap about it's voluntary, the voluntary minicamps, but if you want to be on the team, I know point blank, you can't walk in off the street and play football. You have to practice. You have to not even reinvent yourself. You have to retrain yourself each and every year. And what you're seeing now is a bunch of guys with crappy habits who think that they're working out and all this and that, and then they get hurt when they get into real football because nothing can get you ready for playing football but playing football. And guys are getting mad because you get hurt on your own. If you get hurt off the job, I'm not paying you. You didn't get hurt on my watch. We have a program here where you also get paid to come in. We're not asking you to do anything extra, but we actually you coming in and you get paid to come in. It's like it's your job. It's your job to stay in that state. And you get hurt somewhere, and now you're bitching and moaning because they don't want to pay your salary. Well, you did get hurt. You did not get hurt at work. You might have got hurt doing work things because you don't want to be here. If you don't want to be at work, don't bitch and moan when you don't get hurt at work and you're not getting paid from work.
Hollis making some excellent points about how the game has changed.
Yeah.
Let me take you down another road on that.
Okay.
Again, been a couple of years since you were out. You stayed as long in the league as you did. So back when you first came in, the way the game was officiated was a little different than it is today. And sorry, Mr. Defensive Tackle, almost every change in officiating seems to benefit the offense.
Yes, it does.
Everything is to allow the offense to get the ball down the field more often, quicker, and putting points on the board. Could you play in the NFL today?
I would probably have to adjust. The things that they're doing today is so excuse my French, bitchy, and so it's like it's horrible. You have to lay down the quarterback and give him a shiatsu massage, or it's a penalty. They make the most. They make the most on the team, point blank, and you can't hit them with a quality legal hit. You have to get just after getting beat up by two guys, or one or two guys. You have to come under control and hit them between their shoulder, not up here, and above their knees. It's called football for a reason. It's a gladiator-esque type sport. If you're weak at heart, like a lot of the guys they keep talking about, all the gladiators, those guys are not gladiators. It's no fear factor coming over the middle anymore. You catch the ball coming over the middle. Yeah. You might get somebody who may lay a legal hit in, but I guarantee you, some blind son of an onion from the officiating team is going to lob a flag from the other side of the field, which he probably wasn't watching. The officiating stinks now, point blank. It's kind of it messes up the game sometimes when they make the game about more than them. They're supposed to be seen and not heard. It's like I see holding every play, but they don't call that.
Yeah,
and the officials in general, they stink. If you don't want anything, the egregious calls that didn't get called on the Saints. For the Saints.
Oh yeah, in the championship game.
Yeah. And then you find out that the guy who didn't make the call was it was 4. I don't know if you guys remember that play. There was 4 penalties in that one play. There was illegal contact and hitting the defensive receiver, the pass interference, and the guy he didn't make any of the calls.
Yeah, and that was Nickel Roby Coleman too.
Yeah, we had Roby Coleman.
Yeah.
Well, which he got a lot of penalties. But when you look at all the penalties and the offense is still getting their ass kicked, unless you know how soft offensive players are.
Speaking of, you said, Hollis, you're talking about working out and off, away from the facility and guys not coming in and there's no 7-on-7. There's no 11-on-11,
but there's no 1-on-1 pass rush, and they don't want anything that's competitive. What the hell do you think you're playing?
Yeah. Now there's no mandatory minicamp now. They scrapped that. So, but I'm sure you have all these guys with personal tutors around the country. So, there's pass rush guys, there's offensive line guys, there's quarterback guys, and I never saw more 4.3s in my life when you're talking about combine and pro days and receivers running.
Yep.
Are these guys practicing for combine drills or are they practicing for football?
They're practicing combine drills because as soon as they get into camp, they pull a hammy, or they strain a quad, or they twisting the ankle. You're not. It's just like I just said. You're not going to be able to play football unless you practice football with the people that you're playing with and against. All those people who get you in shape. That's cool we got the longest off season of any sport. That's cool for the off season leading up to you having to be here and getting your ass in shape and ready for football. See what they're giving us is a bum product even with training camp. Training camp is a country club now. Yeah. So you tell me now you don't get to do really anything competitive until training camp. It's going to be the first few games of the season and the preseason are going to look like a pile of dung, point blank, a big old pile of it. Because as a defensive lineman, as a lineman in general, you those camps help you out. Each rep helps you out, helps you get your footwork down, your hand placement. It teaches you to get back into the mode of having low pad level. What you're going to see a lot of guys that are going to be pretty much standing up fighting as a big dog, and you're going to see a lot of guys pulling hamstrings and having soft tissue injuries because you haven't practiced playing football and got yourself in ready. No matter what you do, nothing gets you ready for football like football.
Pile of dung. That's going to be a word picture that stays with me all day long. I appreciate that, Hollis. Do want to run this one by you.
Yeah.
You played for a bunch of different coaches, different teams, certainly different personalities with the guy with the biggest whistle of all. Nick Sirianni is 113 days into his era here in Philadelphia. We've not seen him coach a play yet, let alone an entire game yet. We've judged him off what he said in the press conferences and how he's handled his business to the point. Is Nick Sirianni the kind of coach you could have played for?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him on a few different occasions. I was cracking up because everybody was making a big deal out of what he said and what he did. This is the guy's first coaching job. The thing that stuck with me was competition at each and every position, earning your job. We've been in an era of Eagles football where we've seen people being given their job, and I was getting sick and tired of guys getting complacent because they think that you haven't earned anything, i.e. Carson Wentz. Everybody, you ran Nick Foles out of town, and now you get pissed off because you lead the league in interceptions, and they finally take your happy ass out. I'm getting sick and tired of complacent jerks not earning their keep. Point blank. You can't get mad because somebody takes you out because you're stinking up the joint. When you stink up the joint, sit your ass down and try to get back out there. That's the only thing. That's the only thing you can do. Don't go over there and pout and stuff. And everybody was saying, "Oh, he's being such a great teammate." No, the hell he's not. He's been asking to get out of town since Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. And everybody told him, "Well, how are you going to let him go? Because he had an MVP style season." No, he didn't. He didn't win. He got hurt. So you haven't done anything for me. Sorry, I went on a tangent there because people would piss me off with that Carson Wentz stuff and not earning your job. But that was the main thing in listening to him and kind of just knowing him as a coach a little. I only know him a little bit, and he's extremely competitive. And the other thing that he said that I really loved was everybody wasn't probably paying attention because he was kind of buffooning it around a little bit. But he said he was going to put the guys that he had in optimal positions to maximize their ability. Now, when you hear a coach say that, he doesn't have just a single scheme. Like with the wide nine or when Chip Kelly came here, they came with that crappy 3-4 and tried to make people out of outside linebackers to the defensive end. Those are college-esque coaches that are not going to last. When a coach says that he's going to maximize the potential, or not even the potential, the skill set of each player and use them to help the team, you love to hear that because you know you're going to get some plays, but you have to do them well, or that your number is not going to get called again. So those two things that stuck with me: competition and putting players in optimal position to maximize their skill set.
Yeah, and I think the positive part to that, Hollis, if you look at Nick Sirianni in Indianapolis, they had Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, 3 very different quarterbacks over 3 years, and they managed to have a good offense
one
all the time.
One decent kid and two overrated bums to me.
Yeah.
Two turnover machines, and one guy that quit on them right in it, and then thought nobody was supposed to know in the preseason.
But 3 different quarterbacks. That's important to me because you build your offense around the quarterback and what he does well.
The one thing, John, that I did like that Nick Sirianni and Frank Reich was able to do with Phillip Rivers was cut out the turnovers. He had 10 less interceptions than his previous season. Yeah. So and I watched a lot of their games because I like Frank Reich was my guy. Yeah. He was like and they actually protected Phillip Rivers from himself. He was sticking up the joint in a few games, and they started running the ball and throwing screen plays. So if they had had a quarterback with a little bit more accuracy and less gunslinger-esseness, they might have been playing in a NFC Championship against Kansas City.
If Frank Reich is your guy, apparently he didn't consult you about Carson Wentz because you weren't very complimentary about Carson Wentz just a couple of minutes ago. Your boy Frank thinks he's got a winner out there. He's singing his praise. He's ready to put his neck out for Carson Wentz.
Well, he didn't do too much of putting his neck out there. I don't think we didn't even get a first-round pick for Carson. So that's not stretching neck out, and you really don't have a quarterback. So you know a guy. This kind of goes back to Nick Sirianni and them. They know some guys and Gannon. They know some guys, so they're going to bring some guys in. See, Frank Reich knows what he has in Carson, but I guarantee you he has no qualms or trepidations about letting his ass go or sitting his ass down, and he will do what Frank Reich said. That was the complacent part. That once Frank Reich left, apparently Carson was changing plays and doing whatever the hell he wanted to do, and sticking up the joint doing it to me. And and watching it made my eyes bleed a little bit.
All right. Hollis, last one from me, and I want to thank you for joining us. I hope the move went well for you. But, Brooks was talking to us earlier, and he gave us Jumpy Gethers as somebody who is incredibly strong on the defensive line. You're known as a guy who can't be moved off the ball. Give me the strongest offensive lineman, the guy who could maybe at least attempt to push you off the ball a little bit that you played against.
I used to go against Larry Allen a lot, and we actually used to battle, and the coaches used to say I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing because it started happening from my early years when I first got to the Eagles. They said I didn't know any better, but I used to like the battles with him. Will Shields was really good. Brian Waters, the guys I'm speaking of, you had to come with your A game. This is another guy. Bruce Matthews. He wasn't strong, but when I went against him, he was crafty, and I would just try to get those guys all that they wanted. It would be pretty much like an epic battle of like Gork versus Godzilla, something like that. King Kong versus Godzilla, some epic battle like that on the interior, and something. And what was I used to kick the crap out of Randall McDaniel. He sucked to me.
Oh, that's a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Yeah,
kick the crap out of Randall McDaniel.
Go back and look when he played, when he was supposedly good in Minnesota when I think it was my first and second year, and I destroyed him. His lunch was I destroyed it when he played for Tampa Bay too on the playoff game. I had 4 tackles and a sack. Go look it up.
All right. Wow.
And what's the other? Pretty much all the guards there's a couple of guards that's in the Hall of Fame who I took their lunch, basically. I have over 600 tackles in the NFL.
Yeah.
and a lot of them were behind the line of scrimmage, and a lot of them was destroying guys who everybody was highly touting. I was like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
All right, here's what we learned today. Hollis still doesn't like anybody on the offensive side of the ball. He doesn't have any use for anybody on the offensive side of the ball. Number two, he can still trash talk with the best of them.
Yeah.
Randall, I love the Randall McDaniel, man. That guy.
You didn't know that? Yeah. I used to destroy him.
Yeah.
Actually, because this is it's quick story for you guys. We played Minnesota when they had Robert Smith, Brad Johnson, and all those guys. Yeah. Yeah. So I was playing left defensive tackle. He was playing the other side guard. And remember we had Red Hall. You remember Red Hall? Yeah. So Mike Turkovic said, he's like, come here. They used to call me Baby T. So come here, Baby T. He said, go over on the other side and just run that guy over. I was like, okay. So when the ball snapped, I actually have it on my highlight reel. Before Brad Johnson can get the ball out of his hand, I'm already back there trying to destroy him. And guess who the guard was?
Randall McDaniel.
Okay. All you see is the 6'4" go up into the air and go back.
Oh. I'm going to ask you the most important question of the day. Okay. You can see you're well hydrated, but what's for lunch?
I don't know what's for lunch. Probably. I'm leaning through. I'm trying to do a little healthier thing now.
Get out of here! I know. I don't believe it.
I know.
Stop it!
I was just going to say a double cheeseburger. It was going to be on the grill though. It was going to be on the flame broiled grill though. So
he's down from a triple cheeseburger to a double cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger. I need the protein. I'm a man.
There you are. No one has ever questioned that. Hollis, you are the man. We appreciate you coming out with us today. We'll get back with you in a little bit. Thanks for hopping on.
All right, no problem. If you guys want to find me, you can find me. I'm on the Green Legion Radio, on the Green Legion channel on YouTube, or I'm on iTunes on Fox Sports, The Gambler in Philadelphia, 102.5 FM on Saturdays 1 to 3. But throughout the week, you can catch me downloading my podcast, Get Stank Happy Hour, each and every week on Monday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. or whenever I get tired and a little inebriated. So, and other than that, at KEWLMF on Instagram, I post all of my stuff. So I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Our pleasure, and we will be checking you out, and we will get you back on with us again. Thanks,
all right, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Hollis Thomas here with us on Birds 365. Still talking trash. I love it. He's ready to go out and own Randall McDaniel again.
Greatest offensive lineman of all time, according to people in this league. And Hollis is eating his lunch. I got to go back and look at that.
Smash him in the face, too, while he was at it. He is John McMullen. I am Jody McDonough. We'll come back, put a bow on the show. Last couple of minutes of Birds 365 coming your way.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.